What's on? Chris here from the Slinger.co.uk, and here we are with part 2 of this week's episode 5, and this whole episode is dedicated to chatting about the Apple live event Spring Forward. Enjoy. So, big Tech Geek news this week. The Apple event finally happened yesterday, Monday the 9th of March. It was called Spring Forward, and I'll be completely honest with you, I didn't really understand why they called it that, because here in the UK the clocks aren't changing until I think the 29th of March, somewhere around that time. So I was kind of thinking bit early, Apple, but then it turned out yes, the American clocks changed on the Sunday. So they were going, yay, it's spring and we're doing something about time because it's Apple Watch. So Spring Forward makes sense. I'm going to give you the rundown. It was an hour and a half. I think actually it was an hour and 39 minutes. It was a long one. Considering that, what were the expectations? Apple Watch. Well, we kind of heard all about the Apple Watch in November. That was an hour-long presentation, so I wasn't really sure what to expect when I started watching this hour and 39-minute program. Basically, we kick off with a video about the newest Apple store in China. It looked awesome, but I can't see that I'm ever going to visit it, so I'm not sure why I need to see it. And then we got Tim Cook. Love it when Tim Cook does his presentations, mainly just because I really love the way he pronounces the word apps. I won't try and replicate it, but if you ever have a chance to hear Tim Cook say the word apps, it makes the whole thing worthwhile. So I love a bit of a Tim Cook presentation. I think he does a very good job. So what did we start off with? We started off with Apple TV. Now everybody has been, I say everybody, like everybody in the sort of Apple camp community has been like, wow, we really need to see a new Apple TV. And every single time there's an Apple event coming up, all of the rumor mills are going, maybe we're gonna see a new Apple TV. And then Tim Cook comes on and says, right, let's go, Apple TV. And everyone's like, oh my god, are we finally gonna get a new Apple TV? No. There's a new HBO streaming service coming to Apple TV, and the president of King of HBO came on stage to basically say, good morning, there's going to be a streaming service for HBO and it's only going to be on Apple TV. And that was basically, he got out of bed at like 9, well, he was there at 9 o'clock in the morning, so he must have got out of bed pretty early. Wow. Who actually cares about that? And it's $14.99 a month to basically have Netflix but only HBO stuff. Okay, whatever. But then Apple TV's coming down in price. That's kind of cool because it is, although Tim Cook mentioned it's the market leader, which I have no reason to doubt him because he's Tim Cook. He said, right, we're going to bring the price down. That's cool because I think it is quite expensive. So they're bringing the price down to $69. And I'm actually sitting here thinking I might actually get an Apple TV now because I've got other Apple stuff and I quite fancy being able to just ping stuff onto my TV from my MacBook or what have you. So I'm thinking, it's $69 and it's about $1.60 to the pound. It's going to be about £45. That's actually kind of affordable. It's about the same price as renewing my Xbox Live Gold subscription, which I only use for streaming anyway. So maybe I'll get an Apple TV instead. Then, of course, I check over onto the UK Apple Store. No, £59. What? Okay, here in the UK, we are always getting stiffed on the price conversion. Apple, listen up. $69 is about 45 quid, not 59 quid. Okay, you owe me £14, and that's only if I buy an Apple TV, which I might still because I kind of want one. So there's that. Are they bringing the price down because not enough people are buying it? I know it's a market leader, but is it really? How can it be the market leader over something like Chromecast? Even I have a Chromecast and I'm not a massive fan of Android stuff. Because why do I have a Chromecast? Because it's less than half the price of an Apple TV. That is the only reason I have a Chromecast. It doesn't even work properly on an iPad. It's designed to work with an Android tablet. Yet I have one. I wish I didn't. That I had an Apple TV instead, but that is beside the point. Anyway, so next up we have Research Kit. Now that was just a whole load of boring. Don't get me wrong, it kind of is cool. It's all about how all of the health feedback that's coming out of all of the new health kit and health app for the iPhone 6, iPhone 6 Plus, the Apple Watch, is being molded into tools to help with medical research. And they had a whole list of renowned institutions, the only one of which I could remember is the University of Oxford, because it's the only one that bears any slightest relevance to me living in the UK. And they're developing apps that do things like test for or sort of analyze people suffering from Parkinson's and asthma and I think cardiovascular disease and things like that. Brilliant. Okay, genius. And the, what did they call it? Research Kit is like a development package specifically designed to help people to build apps for these purposes. That's awesome. Kind of feel that could have waited until the WWDC, Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference in June, because it's kind of a developer thing. Don't really know why we had to hear about Research Kit today. It's cool, don't get me wrong, doesn't really bear any relevance to me at the moment. Of course, I don't want to be one of these people who just goes, no, that's rubbish, and then suddenly I need to use it one day. So, you know, it's cool, but I don't know why it was there. Oh, then we had a new MacBook, and new MacBook looked really, really sexy, I have to say. Now, I was watching this on my MacBook Air, and I love my MacBook Air so much, and I was watching it thinking, oh, new MacBook, you look so nice, but don't worry, MacBook Air, I still love you. It's like, that's how nice it was. And I'm always very, very impressed with the Apple presentations and how, like, every single time Apple wants to create a new product, they always want to make a better product than the last product, and so they always have to basically just totally invent new technology to do it. And I enjoy watching that stuff. I'll give you the quick breeze through because you're perhaps a little bit less interested. Basically, the new MacBook is pretty thin. It's 13.1 millimeters thin, as Phil Schiller says, and they compared that then to the 11-inch MacBook Air, which is the thinnest MacBook that they do, and that is 17.3 millimeters. So actually, it's already, quick bit of maths, 4.2 millimeters, so almost half a centimeter thinner than the thinnest MacBook. That is impressive. What else have we got? It only weighs 2 pounds. That is less than a kilogram. That is impressive. It doesn't have a fan in it. I find that a bit strange. Obviously, there's no room for a fan because it's so tiny, but I was playing Civilization 5 on my MacBook the other day, and apart from the fact that my MacBook doesn't actually meet the minimum system requirements, which is probably why it crashed horribly, when it did crash, the fan was going nuts. So I think it's probably fairly useful to have a fan inside a computer. I'm not really sure how they plan to cool that. What else have we got? Basically, it's got the fanless logic board in it, and then the rest of it is and it's got a trackpad. It's got a new trackpad which features haptic sensors like the Apple Watch. So that means they can do things like I think they've got the new thing, the Force Click, where you can press the button harder and harder and harder, and it'll do different things. I don't really get that, but I guess it's because I don't own anything that makes use of it. So inside the MacBook, you've got the logic board without a fan. That's apparently it's something like a third of the size of the one in the current MacBook Air. And you've got the trackpad, and the rest of it's just all battery. And they did this whole thing about how, because it's so thin and so it's so contoured, we couldn't fit much battery in it. So we just invented brand new batteries that go on like a tiered system. Okay, that's because Apple are very fond of their all-day battery life. So I think you're looking at about 10 hours of battery life. It's down. The MacBook Air 13 and 15 inches have purportedly 12-hour battery life. So you kind of losing 2 hours there. But whatever, it doesn't last 12 hours anyway. It would last 12 hours if all you were doing was just looking at a website, but it doesn't last 12 hours. Here's a controversial thing. One port. Now, this was reported. This was doing the rounds. Okay, we all knew it was coming. And yet, when it appears, everyone's like, one port. Okay. I didn't even see a I didn't see a microphone port. They kind of implied that it would only use wireless phones. I kind of hope that's not the case, because not that I'm ever gonna get not that I'm gonna get one anytime soon, but I use my earbuds with my MacBook, and I don't even use those with my phone. Okay, I don't use wireless speakers with my MacBook. I use my earbuds, so I would kind of want a jack port. So your single port is one of the new USB-C, and USB-C basically takes everything. So they're doing away with the magnetic power socket. I kind of like that. They're doing away with the standard USB to, I want to say USB Type B, I think. USB Type A, B, one of this, definitely. If the new one's C, it's one of A or B, isn't it? They're doing away with the USB. They're doing away with the Thunderbolt port. Really? Well, it's like, what about all these people who bought Thunderbolt cables? The USB Type C will take everything. Now, like, instantly, a good friend of mine just went off the deep end. Like, I need to plug 2 monitors into my MacBook. How am I going to do that with only one port? It's an excellent question. I suspect that they want you to maybe AirPlay to one of them, maybe with an Apple TV. I suspect that would be doable. I take it you could probably also get some sort of a splitter cable so that you could have two monitors running off the same port. I don't know. I mean, I'm a little bit old school. I don't have that Apple TV, I've already mentioned, so I can't AirPlay to my television. When I want to play stuff on my television, I use my Thunderbolt port and through into an HDMI, and then I also have it plugged into charge. Now, if the charger port is going to do the same as the HDMI conversion, am I going to be able to charge it and play stuff through the cable? Do they want me to AirPlay it? Maybe that's why the Apple TV has come down in price, because it's kind of like a must-have accessory for the new MacBook. That's another thing. MacBook. It's just called MacBook. I seem to remember that the first notebook that they did was called MacBook. And then they did a really good MacBook and they called it MacBook Pro. And then they did a really thin MacBook and they called it MacBook Air. And then they discontinued the MacBook, so you only had the 2 MacBooks, the MacBook Pro, the MacBook Air. And now they've got a new one, but they're keeping the Pro and the Air, so they're calling it MacBook. Okay, so they've run out of names. I don't know what let's call it MacBook Super Small. Nah, that's rubbish. Let's just call it MacBook. Okay, whatever. So I guess we can take from that the iPad Air 3 is probably going to just be called iPad. I'm wondering when it's going to go back to iPhone. Actually, they seem to be dropping the I's altogether. iPod's kind of... No, so everyone thought the Apple Watch was going to be called iWatch, Apple Watch, Apple Pay. Got the iMac, I suppose. I don't see them discontinue the iMac range anytime. Anyway, I'm kind of going off on one. Then we had it, and I think at this point there was something like 55 minutes left in the presentation, and I was thinking, wow, they're going to just unleash a whole bunch of new stuff. And it's like, it was Apple Watch, and we were expecting Apple Watch, but it was a lot of rehashed material. Now, they did the whole Apple Watch presentation back in November, and I do wonder, and I wondered at the time, and I wonder now even more, was that because they were coming under fire for not saying anything about their watch when everyone was going, we want the watch, everyone else releasing a watch, Android's got a watch, these guys have got a watch, where's your watch, Apple? I wonder if they go, oh man, we're just gonna have to do a presentation, because this time Tim Cook just went over the whole set of watch stuff again, all of the watch stuff from scratch. Okay, that I didn't need to see that. And then we had a supermodel who I haven't heard of, but she apparently does some good things, some very good things, charity work and other such things. She ran a half marathon using an Apple Watch. Okay, so did that need 10 minutes to explain? Not really, I don't think. And then she came on stage, and that wasn't needed. It was a little bit better than the HBO guy, but not a whole lot. So much rehashing, and all really anyone wanted to know is, when's it coming out? How much is it going to cost? We got a full demo, which we got in November. And actually, the more I see the Apple Watch in action, the more I'm torn between just wanting one because it just is an Apple Watch, and thinking, I don't know if I really like the look of it. Like, the guy was like, let's have a look at some Instagram photos on my Apple Watch. Okay, I don't really want to see Instagram photos on like that big. I don't really use Instagram, but if I did, I want to see them on my phone, possibly on my iPad. I don't want to see them on my watch. I don't want to go, look at that tiny photo, I can't see anything. Pinch zooming away. Yeah, just not convinced. Here's the thing then. 18-hour battery life. I was kind of expecting less, and yet the internet has just gone, Rah! It's too short. What did you expect? What did you expect? Look at everything that it does. I don't care if the Android watch lasts for 3 days. Does it do all of that stuff the Apple Watch doesn't? Probably not. So the Apple Watch has got a lot going on in the background. Yes, you should be able to put it into some sort of sleep mode, which for all I know you can. I've never played with one, and preserve the battery life. 18 hours isn't so unrealistic. You charge your phone every night. Why wouldn't you charge your watch? The only time you wouldn't be able to charge your Apple Watch is if you were not in a house. Okay, so big deal. Okay, when is it coming out? April 24th. That's still so long away. What is the date today? It's the 10th of March. 24th of April. Why are we hearing about? Usually they go, here's our new product and you can buy it now. Okay, and I was like, yay, but 24th of April, and they're taking pre-orders from the 10th of April, so you can pre-order it for 2 weeks. Okay, yeah, to be fair, it's probably going to completely sell out. Oh, okay, fine. So April then. I was kind of hoping that I'd be able to just go into the Apple shop tomorrow and just have a go on one, but no, not until April. And then the prices. Oh, goody. This is going to be good, isn't it? Once again, in the UK, we are being stiffed on the price conversions. You do not use the roughly $1.6 to the pound conversion here, Apple, do you? So I was actually completely unsurprised by the entry-level Apple Watch. It comes in 3 different generations, okay? You've got Apple Watch Sport, which has basically sweat-resistant aluminium. I think is basically, there was a whole long video about how we made an brand new alloy of aluminium. Of course, Apple, you have to make a new alloy. It's basically sweat retardant, and it got a plastic strap which is also sweat retardant, I guess. So I was unsurprised. The entry level point is $349, which is £299. No, it's not. Use the conversion properly. That's for the 38mm watch, so basically the small watch. And then for the 42mm, so the large watch, it's a $399 entry point, which is £339. Again, no, it's not. Then you've just got Apple Watch. Now I heard it referred to as Apple Watch Collection. I'm sure I did, but when you look on the Apple Store, it's just called Apple Watch. This is the main bit. It's made out of stainless steel. Again, such a long and tedious video about how they made this particular blend of stainless steel. And it also comes in black steel, space black, because I thought space grey was black. Who knows? So the Apple Watch, this is a little bit more ridiculous, starts at $549, £479, goes up to $1,049. Really, for a watch? That depends on which strap you go for. If I had $1,049, I would probably wait until I had an extra $200 and get one of those new MacBooks. I don't think I'd get a watch with a fancy strap. So that's at the small model, 38mm. The larger model, the 42mm, Entry point at $599 or £519. Maxes out at $1,099. Right, okay, and that's just for large one. I'll be honest, I would probably default to the large one because my assumption would be the little one is probably for ladies and a big one is probably for men. So I would probably just default for the 42mm, and they're probably counting on people to be stupid like me and just go straight in with the larger one and go, well, I'm gonna have to pay an extra $50. And then you've got Apple Watch Edition in 18 karat gold, and that is the thing that has sent the internet into furore. And that the entry point for the Apple Watch Edition in 18 karat gold with a strap made out of probably the hide of the president's own personal baby cows, I guess. $10,000, $10,000 entry price point, or £8,000. Now at that point I would be definitely wanting the actual exchange rate to come into play here, because I'm pretty sure that you'd be looking at closer to $7,000 if you did that properly on the exchange rate. That is a mental price. Okay, that is an F star king mental price. But let's be honest, I have no idea what the entry point is for a top end non-smartwatch. So like maybe a diamond encrusted watch. I don't know how much one of those costs. Maybe it's $10,000. Who actually knows? Whereas this one, you can have Mickey Mouse telling the time. That's only for the 38mm one as well. So if you wanted to go straight in at the 42mm job, that is I didn't do it in dollars. £9,500. So I'm going to assume that's probably about $12,000. The most expensive Apple Watch in pounds, £13,500. That is utter ridiculousness. People will buy it. That's the thing. People are going, oh, Apple, you're so greedy. Apple, you're so greedy. But to be fair, if I was making a product that I knew some people would pay $13,000 for, of course I would make some. I'd make a whole bunch of them and I would sell them, and I'd take all that money and I would use it to build thinner Macs and sell those for loads of money as well. It's just the way it is. It's not Apple being greedy. It's Apple realizing that people are going to spend the money, so they might as well be the ones taking it. So there you have it. That was an hour and 39 minutes of my life that I know I like these events, but it could have been a lot shorter. We didn't need to see the whole rehashing of how Apple Watch worked, or basically like, don't take an hour of my life in November. Okay, and then I'll be happy to watch it all. Oh well. I'm going to leave it at that, I think, because we've had enough geekery going on for this week. So in the meantime, you can't buy an Apple Watch yet, so I guess I'll see you next week. Laters.